What is up, guys? Welcome back to Tip Tuesday. And isn't it exciting? We're on lockdown level 2. If you're in South Africa, the gyms are open. And that is fantastic news for Train Me Academy. We offer gym-specific plans, which basically means when you are going to the gym, you're going to be making use of the equipment in the correct way, because more equipment means more options, and more options without the knowledge just means more confusion and more wasting your time, not getting you towards your fitness goals. If there's anything that can demoralize someone and stop them from embarking on a health and fitness journey or doing any sort of, or trying to get any sort of to destination, it's doing something and not getting anything back in return. And this is why I feel like a lot of people start fitness journeys and they don't continue on them. Obviously, there's a lot of other factors that are involved in this, but if you are able to maintain your motivation, you are going to continually be stimulated, and the continual stimulation with the endorphin boost that you're going to get from those workouts, it's going to help you carry on coming back. And when you carry on coming back and you do this for long enough, the results are incredible. You're going to feel better, you're going to look better, you're going to have more confidence, you're just going to be more confident and more happy in your own skin. And what better gift could you give yourself? And that is why the Academy is here. Train Me Academy is here to empower you as the individual to learn how to get these results so that you are not reliant on anyone else. We want to empower you to have that knowledge, the knowledge that you need in order to make sure that you're on the right path and that you look, feel, and just are amazing, because we're all amazing beings here. So again, welcome back to our Tip Tuesday. We have a few questions this week, but we're going to continue with our classes, which we got into some of the strength tests, or how to use a strength test and what different zones you should be working in depending on what your goal is. So I'm going to try bring up different scenarios. Hopefully these scenarios are going to be what your goals are. If they're not, then ask me a question next week, and then hopefully I can assist you in that interaction. Give me a certain scenario, what your goals are, and then I can direct the video more towards that situation. And hopefully in doing that, you guys will have more chance to conceptualize exactly that information into a way that you can use it. Otherwise, I'm just sitting here again, looking at myself in my screen and hoping that I'm giving a scenario or an example or giving you the information in a way that is actually useful to you. So let's work together on this one. Before we get into our lesson for the day, I just would like to talk a little bit about the members only app. That's the way that Train Me Academy delivers their programs. Okay, members only app means that the app is downloadable. However, it is not useful unless someone is actually directing or giving you a plan on it. So it's not just something that you can log onto and then there's a database of exercises or etc., something like that. The reason that it's members only is because we take you through a process of finding out what you want and what your goals are. So we go through a consultation process which extracts the information that we need in order to give the plan to you that you desire, and also that it's going to be helpful to you, i.e. directed towards your goal. So the members only smartphone app, once you become part of the Academy, you will download it. It'll prompt you and ask you questions. From there, we will analyze from the answers that you've given us what it is that you need, and then we will provide a program in order for you to achieve that goal as fast as possible in the most natural and holistic fashion. Okay? It is an amazing benefit to have especially now when the gyms are open. Okay? The gyms are opening, which means there's more equipment, more things available to us, more toys for us to play with. That's really great, but it creates more confusion, unfortunately, because as nice as it is to be around all of these shiny objects, all these heavy things that are lying around in the gym, if we don't know what we're doing in the gym and we don't know how or what to do with them or how to work with them in the right way, we're going to be banging our heads against the wall. And that's what Train Me Academy wants to eliminate from your life. In doing this whole process, you are going to be learning. So every single week you get a coaching video by me. I outline what you should focus on that week, what you can't focus on in the next week, and I give you a couple of pointers, okay? And then we run you through a journey. But let me not get too far ahead of myself. Once you have given all of the information that we need from you, so your consultation form, for example, we collect that data, we build a plan that is going to direct you towards your goal. So for 699 Rand, you get a personalized program. Okay, it's not a one-on-one program. It's not that I'm going to be sitting with you on Zoom or whatever else people are using nowadays and telling you what exercise to do and things like that. What's going to happen is there's going to be an exercise plan that will come up in your calendar, and on that calendar I will set, based on the feedback that you've given me, which days you should do which workouts. These are guidelines. You don't have to do those the specific days that actually come up. So the flexibility of it is, if something comes up in your day and you can't exercise on Monday and you could rather do Tuesday this week, you can simply just move that workout from Monday to Tuesday. If you feel like on Sunday night you want to work out on Monday morning, and then when you actually wake up on Monday morning you don't actually want to work out that morning because it's raining outside or there's something happening with your kids or it's too cold or whatever the reason is, you don't have to do that exercise session in the morning. You can do it in the evening, or you can move it over to Tuesday. There's flexibility. Flexibility is super important. So particularly now with gyms opening, there's a maximum, I think, of 50 people allowed in the gym. So if you're in one of those industrial mainstream gyms, I like to call them the big red gym or the big blue gym. If you're in South Africa, you probably know what I'm talking about. And there's only 50 people allowed in at a time. You may run into a situation where you arrive there, unless there's going to be a booking system, but you arrive there and you are actually unable to work out, or you have to wait in a queue, or I don't know what the scenario is going to be. So if that does happen, what we're going to be running for you in the month of September is a bulletproof backup plan, which basically means we will give you an exercise plan to do in the gym, depending on what equipment that you have access to. And if you are unable to get into the gym at those or at that day or that time, we're going to give you backup exercises that you could do at the park, at home, wherever else, if things just don't seem to be working out. Which means that for 699 Rand, you'll be on the app for 6 weeks. During those 6 weeks time, in that 6 week time, you will have access to 60 personalized workouts. 60 workouts that are directed towards your specific goal. I feel like this is a completely no-brainer. I would love to have more clients. I still have space on in my client list. So guys, if you are interested, send us a DM, share this video with people that you'd maybe like to join with you. You can do this together, you can do it as a group. We're trying to create a whole community here. So sign up, get the smartphone app that has exercise videos, it has step-by-step exercise plans. So basically that means when you are from start to finish, from your warm-up all the way to your cool down, there's going to be a video that is explaining to you how to do the exercise, that you can watch as many times as you want, or if you're a bit more advanced, you can just watch the video once and then look at the prescribed sets and reps and rest time, and the app will take you through nicely. It will measure your rest for you to make sure that you're not resting too much or too little. It basically takes care of everything for you. Amazing. Cool story, Neil. let's move on to our lesson. So last week we were speaking a lot about in the subsequent weeks we've been talking about the different zones, okay? So we have the muscle endurance zone, we have the muscle building zone, we have the strength zone, and we have the power zone. Last week I told you that if you do a 1 rep max test, 1 repetition max test, or a different variation of that test, like the 3 rep max, the 5 rep max, or the 10 rep max, which is a different way of working out what your 1 rep max would be. If you're able to get that information, you can then plug in whichever zone that you would like to work in. So the example that I used last time, if you were doing, your 1 rep max bench press, for example, is 100 kilograms, and you would like to work in the endurance zone, okay? The endurance zone means that you're about 65% or less of your 1 rep max. So in this example, 65 kilograms or less, you're going to be working between 12 repetitions and 20 repetitions, and you're going to be resting 30 seconds or less. Your sets are normally between 2 and 3. They're not normally higher than 3 because you're getting a lot of volume just by doing that amount of repetitions, and your body obviously knows and it accumulates all of the volume that you've done. It places stress on the body. So you don't want to do too much stress and you don't want to have too little stress. You want to have enough stress on the body to get a response, but not too much stress on the body that you get an injury or you start to overtrain. Okay, so that's the example that we used last time. I spoke a little bit about the strength, or the muscle building zone as well. So for the muscle building zone, what you're going to want to be doing is between 6 repetitions and 12 repetitions, between 65% of your 1 rep max and 85% of your 1 rep max. So if your 1 rep max, again in this example, is 100 kilograms, you need to be doing between 65 kilograms of weight and 85 kilograms of weight. Let me get my brain back on track here. So in the muscle building zone, you're going to want to be doing between 6 and 12 repetitions of 65 to 85% of your 1 rep max. Okay? If you are working, or if you've worked that out correctly, if you work more towards your 85%, you shouldn't be able to do many more than 6 repetitions if you've got it really precise. And when you're working at your 65% or more towards that lower end, you shouldn't be able to do a lot more than 12 repetitions. So it's not that your brain and you're just like stopping yourself in between the 6 and the 12 mark that's going to get you the results. What gets your body the results, because this is a scientifically worked out formula, what gets you the results is making sure that you've got the right 1 rep max and then using the weight in that specific zone. And the zone that we've just spoken about is between 65% and 85%. Okay, that is what the limiting factor is. Then, in order for you to reinforce this into your body so that training sessions are nice little packages of output, for lack of a better word, you need to rest at the correct amount of time and do the right amount of sets in order to make sure that you reinforce enough to your body that it gets a workout, which is why it's called a workout in the first place. You're not doing a workout right if at the end of your session you're walking away and you haven't even started sweating, or you're just like, that was really, really easy, or like it wasn't much different to maybe say walking. And you're also not doing it right if you get to the end of the session and there's literally all of the water in your body is coming out of your sweat pores, you're crawling around on the floor, you may vomit after your session, you may get a headache. If all of those things, or some of those things, or one of those things are happening, you're probably pushing yourself too hard. If you're going to be an athlete, cool, push yourself, that's awesome. If not, not really worth it. you shouldn't really be pushing your body to that extent, because the body is still going through day-to-day stuff. So because of modern civilization, we're going through stress, we're eating really cuck foods with high in sugars and preservatives, and all of those stuff, the refined, like preservatives, I already said preservatives, colorants, artificial sweeteners, all of that rubbish. Anyway, let me not get off track here. So I've spoken. Let me speak a little bit about each zone so I can leave you with a nice little nugget today. And then next time we're going to be speaking about the cardiovascular tests and how to get into different zones in regards to if your goal is more endurance based, so cardiovascular based. If that's what your goal is. Let me not get too much detail. Okay, so we've spoken about the endurance zone. The endurance zone is less than 65%. You're going to be doing between 12 and 20 repetitions, and you're going to be doing just between 2 or 3, sometimes 4 sets. But I would stick it between 2 and 3 just because you're getting a lot of volume by the amount of reps that you're doing in each set. Muscle building zone, you're going to be doing between 6 and 12 repetitions, between roughly 65% to 85% of your 1 rep max. And you're going to be doing between 3 and 6 sets, so you can push the sets a little bit higher, especially if your rep is a little bit lower, maybe 8 repetitions or 6 repetitions per set. And you're going to be resting between 30 seconds and 1.5 minutes. Shouldn't really be resting anything more than 1.5 minutes. If you are, you're kind of pushing more into that strength zone. Okay, I didn't mention for the endurance zone, your rest period should be 30 seconds or less, because you're not pushing the body very far into what it's actually capable of doing. So like less than 65% is not incredibly stressful for the body. In order to get that strength endurance up, you need to challenge the body to redo what it's just done within 30 seconds time. Cool. For the strength zone, we're going to be doing 6 repetitions or less. Okay. Some strength athletes get down into the 1 and 2 repetition mark per set. That's not generally what you would be doing for the purpose of this conversation. You'll probably be doing between 3 and 6. Okay. What a very popular kind of mainstream program is, if you've ever heard of the 5x5 method, that means 5 repetitions of 5 sets. So you do for each exercise, you'll do 5 reps and 5 sets. Okay, but if you are really in that zone, you should be doing between 3 and 6 repetitions. And your sets can also be between 2 and 6. Cool. That is basically for a goal if you just want to get stronger. You're not really worried about speed. You're not really worried about agility much. Basically, if you're working in that zone, that's what you're going to be aiming towards. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because my videos have been going too long before, especially the last one. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, and then the last one is the power zone. So the power zone, I didn't talk about rest. So in the strength zone, you should be resting between 2 and 5 minutes. It's important to not rest less than 2 minutes, because you have moved from the more towards the fully anaerobic zone. And when you're using anaerobic fuel, so the stuff that I've already spoken about last time, basically in order to replenish that fuel, your body needs to create more of it. It's no longer just the oxygen in the air that is refueling your system and making your muscles move. You are actually having to refuel your body, and in order for that system to refuel itself correctly, what you need to do is give your body at least 2 minutes of rest before you do the next set. Otherwise, you could injure yourself, or you're not going to be able to lift the right amount of weight for the right amount of repetitions, in which case you won't be in the strength zone anymore. So between 2 and 5 minutes, very important. Don't rest more than 5 minutes, you'll start to cool down. Don't rest less than 2 minutes, because your body wouldn't have replenished what it needs in order to do strength exercises. And then lastly, the power zone. Okay, that's obviously turning off. The power zone, we are also going to be working between 3 and 5 repetitions, so slightly less than the strength zone. But the difference between the power zone is that you're going to be moving something with explosive force. So with power, there's strength and there's velocity involved as well. So there's a speed element to it. Okay. You are also going to be working between, sometimes between 75 to 85% of your 1 rep max. If you are an athlete, you will probably move into the power zone higher than that mark. So for me, when I was Olympic weightlifting and doing it competitively, I was moving up to 90% to 100% of my 1 rep max, but obviously for 1 repetition. But and that's kind of just for athletes. If you want to be working in the power zone, you're going to be doing between 3 and 5 repetitions, between 75 to 85% of your 1 rep max. And you again need to be resting between 2 and 5 minutes because you are working in the same kind of anaerobic zone as you are in the strength. I know I forgot to mention on the strength zone, you're going to be working at 85% or more of your 1 rep max. So if you are obviously going less on the repetition mark, so let's say you're doing 3 repetitions, you're going to be maybe towards the 90, maybe just slightly over 90% of your 1 rep max, because you're doing very small, less there. You're doing much less repetitions, but you are taxing your body by the load and not so much about the volume or the amount that you're doing in terms of the amount of repetitions. I hope that is very, very helpful to you guys. So I've spoken a little bit about finding a 1 rep max for a certain exercise, and then I've explained which percentages that you need to be working in depending on if your goal is muscular endurance, so if you want to kind of tone a little bit, if it's muscle building, if you want to bulk up and get that lean muscle, if you want to be a lot stronger in the strength zone, or if you want explosive power, being able to jump, change direction quickly, or sprint, then you're going to be working in that power zone. So that's it for our lesson for today. I have a few questions, but not that many to get to. So my first question is, what's a good way to start understanding proteins, carbs, and fats? I'm not sure what they mean by understanding protein, carbs, and fats. What I would recommend is just knowing what foods fit into which category. So with proteins, you're normally looking at things like your lean meat, well, it doesn't have to be lean meats, but your meats, your lentils, your beans, all of your legumes. Those are the kinds of things that are fitting into your proteins. Your carbohydrates is where your body gets its energy from. So it's things like your rices, your potatoes, your starches, starchy vegetables, rice, potatoes, pretty much, or sugar, that's another one of your carbohydrates, but I wouldn't consider sugar a food. Anyway, separate conversation for a separate day. And then your fats, when you're looking at your nuts, your oils, seeds, things like that. If you just understand that each macronutrient, they are very divided, and the way that they're divided is by what they have most of. So the best example I can give is, a lot of people think nuts are proteins. Nuts are not proteins. They have protein in it. They do have quite a high level of protein in it, but their main macronutrient, which is the highest macronutrient, is fat, which is why nuts actually fall into your fats in your macronutrient categories. So the other question I have is, because on the Train Me Academy we follow carb cycling, they asked, what is the purpose, benefit, or thinking behind carb cycling? Why not just do a low carbohydrate diet? And for like the Atkins diet. So the Atkins diet, or Banting, which is actually very similar to the Atkins diet, is basically just low carbohydrate all of the time. Just like with the principle I spoke about last time with exercise, we have something called progressive overload. When you are using that principle, progressively overloading means you progressively giving the body more volume or more intensity and then you allow your body to adapt to it, but not fully adapt to it before giving it more, so that you're constantly stimulating and giving it new stimulus, and that gives really good results, and it continues to give good results. Carb cycling, the philosophy is very similar to that. We don't just have low carbohydrate days. So say, if, for example, if you want to be losing weight with carb cycling, you can lose weight with carb cycling, you can maintain weight with carb cycling, and you can also gain weight with carb cycling. So if, for example, for most people, they're wanting to lose weight with carb cycling, we give you a couple of low carb days, and then we chuck in a high carb day, and then we go a couple of low carb days again, and then we kind of keep repeating that cycle, so that your body doesn't deplenish all of its glycogen stores, but also your body doesn't get fully used to what it's doing, and you progressively keep changing it, and so your body keeps responding to it. There's other methods that we throw in there as well, but that's the gist of it. So the next question was, what is carb cycling, and what are the benefits? I've basically gone through that, answering that last question. And then the last question that we have today is, are the nutritional plans suited for vegans? 100%. If you are a vegetarian, a vegan, or if you eat halal or kosher, the carb cycling guide that we give you can be suited for different types of eating preferences. So I'm a vegan. This was the first plan that I actually used, well, the first meal plan that I actually went on when I went vegan, and it worked incredibly well for me. I know one of our ambassadors, Lene, is also vegan, and she's busy following the plan at the moment. She's coming up with amazing recipes, or different combinations of food. But for a long story short, because there are lists of foods that you can eat depending on if you're on low or high carb days, it's quite flexible and would fit in very, very nicely with whatever you're looking to achieve. So yes, the nutritional plans can be suited for vegan, vegetarian, or whatever your food preference. That's all we have time for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in again. I would like to also just mention that because these videos are long, because I am so damn long-winded, what I'm going to start doing, and I actually got this idea from my sister, she doesn't literally watch the video. I mean, I know I'm just sitting here, my face can get boring, there's no whiteboard here, there's no real point of watching me in this video. If you do like to see my facial expressions and see the things that I do with my hands in order to try like put things into different zones, that's cool. But what I'm going to be doing moving forward is I am going to start releasing, or look into releasing, a podcast version of what I'm saying. So I'm going to basically be putting that, see if I can put that on whatever podcast. I think there's two main podcasting things, so you can get it on Apple and Android. I'm going to look into that, and I'm going to be getting these videos in a series where you can listen to it while you're going for a run, when you're in your car on the way to work, whatever, whenever suits you. Something you just have audio, just have me in your ears, and hopefully that you're learning and following along. So thank you so much again for joining. Thank you for everyone that's joined us, from our new followers, and thank you to everyone that is supporting these videos. If you would like to support us, please share this video, click like, comment on it. All of this is very, very much appreciated to keep the Academy going. We are running that special for 699 Rand. You can literally get a plan for your goals, whether you're going to the gym, whether you have no equipment, or whether you have a home gym. Enjoy the rest of your evening, guys, and be safe.